Have you ever wondered what happens in real estate behind the scenes, the good, the bad, and the ugly? I'm local realtor to Philadelphia, Justin Heath. This is my partner, Ryan Cavanaugh.
And this is our podcast, Behind the Sign.
What's up, Ryan?
What's up, buddy?
Not much, man. We're in Ambler today. We're sitting across from Wake Coffee Shop.
Right here at the Ambler train station.
Yep.
Yep.
And we're going to talk to you today about everything that goes on in real estate, the things that you don't see day to day, the things that as real estate agents in the state of Pennsylvania that we go through to help our clients sell their home, buy an investment property, and everything else in between.
Yeah, and we wanted to do this as a way to show new buyers what it's like in buying a home, experienced homeowners and sellers what it's like buying that second property or their investment property. Just to give out the tips and tricks that we've kind of learned throughout the years as we go through this journey on Behind the Sign.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we're going to be coming to you mobile. We're sitting in the bed of my pickup truck. The idea behind this podcast is that we could be anywhere. We can go to a neighborhood, a parking lot, a coffee shop, a business complex. So if you've got any interest in us traveling around and showcasing some local spots, you just let us know. You can drop a comment below on the clip, and we'll show up there.
Yeah, shoot us a DM. But yeah, we came up with this idea. Justin and I have wanted to start a podcast for a while, or kind of expand our media approach. Yeah. Yep. And we stumbled on this idea of the podcast, and then we were trying to figure out, like, everybody's podcast is in a studio, or everybody's different, but we were like, what makes us kind of different? And our office is typically our vehicles, right? And
we spend
Justin,
a lot of time in our vehicles day to day.
Yeah, and Justin and I both drive pickup trucks, and we're like, what if we did it from the bed of our trucks?
Yeah.
We can be anywhere. We can make it really interactive with our viewers, and bring it to you.
Yeah, I think the motivation for this podcast is we wanted to give you a different approach to real estate. What you see on social media, what you hear about, is mostly not what happens day to day. There's a lot of behind the scenes things that does not get talked about. Agent relationships, contractual things that go into place. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes when we have a client that calls us and says, hey, we're looking for our first home or an investment, or we're looking to sell our property because we're relocating or downsizing in some way, shape, or form. There's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of strategy that does not get talked about from a day-to-day perspective, that as a viewer, as somebody that's a consumer in today's market, we felt it would be good to show those aspects of what we do day in and day out and bring them to you.
Yeah, and you said something there that I want to touch on, is like in today's market, but also give you an approach, inside approach of how we navigate shifting markets and changing markets, right? Like, Justin and I have both been licensed. I think our cumulative experience is approaching 20 years at this point.
Almost, yeah.
And in the time frame that we've both been in this business, the markets have shifted, and we've been through ups and buyers markets and sellers markets and stale markets, and there's different approach for every season, and we kind of go through how to navigate that if you're a buyer or a seller.
Absolutely. So Ryan, how long have you actually been licensed selling real estate?
I got licensed to sell in 2016, so 9 years ago. Okay. Going on 10. I got licensed in Pennsylvania initially, and shortly after that, through the brokerage that I first joined, their training model was, it was great. I no knocks, but it's to reach out to a majority of your sphere.
Right.
And while I live in Pennsylvania now, a majority of my sphere was in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And I spent the first 6 months to a year calling all my people I know and sending deals to agents that I knew in New Jersey. And I was like, wait, I know New Jersey. I should get my secondary license there, which I got 8 years ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How about you?
So this is my 7th selling year. Almost 8 years licensed, but going, I think that's backwards, right? almost 8 years of selling real estate, solely in Pennsylvania, originally from Jersey. Spent my life in Jersey, at the Jersey Shore in Atlantic County, Atlantic City to be specific. Born and raised, moved to Pennsylvania about 15 years ago, and spent my life traveling the country in corporate sales, and just got sick and tired of it and dove into real estate about 7.5, 8 years ago. And so I've been selling in PA ever since, and also licensed in Jersey. I think you hold Delaware license, right?
I am licensed in Delaware as well, yeah.
I'm in the process of getting my Florida license, which is going to be excellent.
Justin recently traveled down to Key West and really wants to sell gorgeous beach homes in the Keys. So he's going to pursue a little side hustle here on the Florida business.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I've been selling for almost 8 years, and I started basically with nothing. No sphere at all. Built my business off of cold calling, for sale by owners, expireds, withdrawals, canceled listings from the market, and day in and day out, just pounded the phones.
Yeah, I think you and I share a lot of similarities in that sense. In that we're transplants to Pennsylvania, and we had to start from nothing because we didn't know people here. I mean, we knew few people here, but I moved to Pennsylvania in 2008, and moved here to take a law enforcement career. During that process, I bought my first house. I had a great agent that bought my first house with, and really that inspired me to look into the licensing and get real estate.
Has anybody in your family been in real estate?
No.
So you're the first?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Justin's going to touch on, he has some family experience in real estate. So yeah, I came here to work in law enforcement, was a municipal police officer for 6 years, and transitioned out of there into real estate full time, and it's been a great experience. It has its ups and downs, which we'll talk about.
No question about that.
No question. But and so back to that, we've had to grind the old school methods to garner a livelihood, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for me, it's been, I kind of grew up in the real estate family. My dad, who raised me, he's 81 now, almost 81, just, I think, locked up his 56th year in real estate in South Jersey, and is officially out of the business now.
He did officially retire.
Yeah, officially retired, so kudos to you.
Congrats.
My mom has been living in Southwest Cape Coral for the last 25 years. She got into the business about 20-something years ago. And so, as a youngster, my dad used to take me to his real estate office, and I used to run around the halls, and he used to make me stuff his mailers and, help him with the BS that goes on behind the scenes in real estate, sending out magnets, mailers, licking envelopes, stuffing envelopes. Like, it still traumatized me, but that kind of, at that age, being 3-4 years old at that time, it always interested me getting into real estate. And so I wanted to do it much sooner in life, but was pushed in other directions. So in the age of like 36 or so, roughly, I was like, you know what? If I don't do this now, I'm going to regret it. I just dove in head first, and here we are.
Yeah, so. It's funny. I never, to be honest, quite frankly, didn't even recognize real estate prior to going to buy my first home. Yeah. I didn't have I grew up in one house. Like, we didn't move. We didn't, it was just never even an acknowledged thought that I ever had. Right. Yeah. So, and then when I'm a very handy person. I do a lot of things myself. I enjoy, I enjoy tinkering and building and putting things, fixing. So those two things combined, once I was exposed to real estate, and I was like, well, this could be really beneficial. Like, I could really help buyers navigate like a good property from a bad property, understand, like,
not just selling.
Yeah, you're not just selling. Like, you're really coming with value from a sense of, look, there's issues, but these issues are affordable, or these issues are deal breakers, right? And understanding budgets and constraints and stuff like that, and helping people along that process is what really popped me into this. I was like, this is cool.
Yeah, I think there's so many things about real estate that you don't see from the outside that you can get your hands on. Like, this is, like I said, this is almost 8 years of selling, and I'm just now learning of other avenues that you can get into with real estate, like investing, or, I just saw an Instagram reel 2 days ago that talked about finding a contractor and an equity partner and creating that trio of people that can buy, flip property without really utilizing your own money. And so there's so many different little aspects of real estate that you can get into, and aside from helping people, right? Yeah. Obviously that's our number one goal, is to help people.
Right.
But there's so many little different avenues that you can get down in real estate. There's really endless possibility. For me, as a career choice, I knew that I always wanted to work for myself. I knew that from an early age. But I got the experience of working for corporate America and learning how to navigate conversations with VPs, CEOs, CFOs, from all different aspects, and that kind of really helped shape me to get into the real estate business. And so I've never really looked back.
Yeah.
Well, here's a question for you, Rye. Like, you've been doing this a little longer than I have, right? We have a lot of experience between each other. We've sold a lot of homes between each other. What keeps you coming back?
I think the big thing that keeps me coming back, because look, there's a lot that makes you want to run away too, right? There's a lot that, Justin and I have experienced a few negative events in the past week. And, the thing that keeps coming back is the sense of joy that you get from a client when they've successfully completed their transaction. Yeah. You see that's what, I think that's what you see on Instagram, or, that's what you see on Instagram or social media when somebody buys their home and they post, oh my God, we bought a home. But the real joy that you see, like when you're going through that final walkthrough, when you're going to the closing table, 2 weeks later when you check on them and you're like, hey, how's the house? And they're like, oh my God, they're just so overjoyed. And I think those things, they're so simple.
The little moments,
they're so simple, but they're so meaningful, and that's really the motivation that brings me back every single time. Mm-hmm. I think there's enough in this, as we'll get to, there's enough in this business that can make you really want to tuck your tail and run away, but it's just a matter of those simple moments that bring you back.
Personally, for me, it's the goal of wanting more, right? I'm very into motivation. I look forward to each challenge each day presents. And what I find is that you get people that just will call on you out of the woodwork that you've never heard about before, right? You never heard from before. For me personally, it's the unknown that keeps me coming back, because I think we live day to day sometimes in real estate. And so I think what happened yesterday, whether it's a shitty day or a great day, today could be equally as great, or we might be able to change our fortune from the day before. So for me personally, I think it's the relationship aspect that I get to create with somebody, whether they're a married couple, somebody that's just diving in for the first time, or what have you. For me, it's the interaction and the relationship. I like getting that feeling of affirmation from someone that I'm doing a good job for them, that I'm guiding them and helping them find what it is that they're looking for, no matter what the scenario is. Or if they're just looking for a piece of information as to what's happening locally. Hey, did you hear about X, Y, and Z? We're not interested in selling, we're not interested in buying, but they're still coming to me because I'm a resource. And that, for me, is what keeps me coming back day to day. It's not necessarily the transaction. It's the idea that I get to help somebody with whatever it might be.
Right. I think to piggyback on that, for me too, you mentioned that, and it's the agent relationships too. We make a ton of agent relationships, and honestly, successful agent relationships really foster whether coming back is going to be a possibility, right? Like if you're not making good agent relationships, this is going to be a hard business. Yeah. And we foster those everywhere. Like, I've just recently I had a client here that needed to sell a house in Maryland, send it off to Sophia and thank you. You did a great job. It's like under contract and sold like right away. But building those aspects and being that resource even around the country or around the world, because we do foster those relationships globally so that we can be a bigger resource for our
I think that's
content.
part of it too. I definitely think that that's part of it, because there's been this monotonization of real estate, of how it's perceived for so long. You get the agents that have been in the business. They say, I've been in the business for 30 years. I've never done it this way, right? For me, I love being able to create a relationship with another agent who I don't know, and creating some dialogue with them and showing them the things that I'm doing in my business, not because I feel like I'm doing it better, but because there's just probably a better way of doing it overall, right? I want to learn from that agent. If they have 30 years of experience, they can teach me something.
Absolutely.
Right? And so I like taking their knowledge and applying it to what I do, and then showing them how I'm doing what I'm doing. And so for me, the agent relationship is important, because that's how you win. And if we're struggling in this market like we are, right, we still have super low inventory. If you and I have a great relationship as agents, and I've got a client that might be interested in a property that you have, and I present an offer to you, just my relationship alone with you might win the deal.
Right.
Right? We're treating each other with respect. You know that I'm going to get the deal done however it needs to get done, in the best interest of the clients. For me, that's another aspect that keeps me coming back and wanting more, So.
And we've experienced those wins in the past of utilizing relationships to help our clients get what they need and get the other agents' clients what they need.
Yeah. What would you do differently
in real estate?
Yeah. So you've been in for 8 years. You've done things a certain way for a length of time. What would you do differently knowing what you know now?
God, that's a loaded question. Geez, I would probably go back to the beginning and really dial in on all aspects of like lead gen, right? And client relationship. Those two aspects, like you have to fill your bucket and nurture your bucket, right? Like, and being able to foster new relationships and nurture existing. And I would just continue. I would do that from the beginning and like put 10x on it and get that reward, because without that, you're just always fishing in a new pond. Yeah. And that's hard. Yeah. And there's a lot of agents that do that, and there's agents that are successful at doing that. But, the relationship game is really, I think, what I would, go back and double, triple, quadruple the effort on that. Not that I haven't. I'm just saying I would put more effort on that.
Yeah. I think for myself too, I got into a pattern very early on. Like I said, I cold called a lot. Yeah. I was very good at scripts. I still am very good at scripts, but I've gotten away from it as the years have gone on. But heavily, when I was first starting out, I was heavily into it. And then I had some early success, and I was like, let me buy leads. And I think going down that path where it's not organic business I didn't recognize that early on. I was buying the lead and not realizing how expensive that purchase is on a monthly basis. And maybe you convert 1 out of 6, 1 out of 10, whatever the lead flow is for the month. Right. You don't, as being young in the business and not looking at the ROI and versus the expense of the lead, I would have flipped that on its head. I would have doubled down on my cold calling efforts because I was having success with it. I was getting a lot of listings and converting deals right away. The moment I jumped into the monster of Zillow, I had a lot of success with Zillow. on my own. Like I had a ton of success converting leads.
And we've had a lot of success together.
Yeah, we've had a lot of success together with Zillow. But I don't think I would have gone down that path.
Yeah.
And listened to some of the advice that I got early on in real estate. I probably would have taken a more organic approach, as I'm doing now.
Yeah.
As we're doing now, we're trying to do right now.
So since you brought up that topic, what is your opinion of Zillow?
Man,
Zillow?
I have love-hate for Zillow. I do.
And I mean it from both our perspective and the consumer.
The love that I have for Zillow has been, over the years, I've converted a good amount of leads. I think that what they have to offer is they'll ring your phone for you, and you can easily get trapped into waiting for the business to come. Reactive. It's a reactive business. It's not progressive, right? Zillow's good in the ideology that somebody can hop onto their site and get an idea of what their home is.
A vague idea.
Correct.
A very vague idea.
I hate Zillow because people think that they're the end-all, be-all, that they're this gigantic real estate search engine. When people think real estate, they think Zillow.
Which is very true. Zillow is the number one visited real estate website in the world.
Yes, it is. And I'm not touting them for that. I'm also not trying to break them down because of it. They are what they are.
Yeah.
For me personally, I've grown into somebody that is against using their platform, because I'm finding more and more, as I'm having daily conversations with home sellers specifically, that they feel their values are accurately depicted on Zillow. And what I don't like about the platform is it's very clear. Zillow is taking a 30,000-foot view of what the potential value is of their property. They have no idea what the inside of the home looks like. Yes, do they look at the market conditions and what homes are selling for from a satellite view? Yes, they do. Can they come up with a relative value for that home or for homes in a community? Yes, they do. Are they right? I would say 50% of the time they could be right on the value, but oftentimes they're not.
Here's a quick example tip for our audience. If you go on Zillow at the moment or whenever you want, you look up a property that is listed or for sale, and scroll down, look at the Zestimate history. You will see what the Zestimate was, and then you see it typically, I would say 9 listings out of 10, you will see a categorically massive adjustment to when the agent then lists the property, right?
Correct.
That's because of that broad view that Zillow is viewing, the AI, the algorithm has come up with that value, but it's not a person. It's not a person that saw your house. It's not a person that's been in the home. It's not. So when the agent goes, evaluates that property, evaluates it against actual local comparable properties, and puts it in the MLS, you will see Zillow's estimate jumps or drops to right around that list price.
Yeah. And I think it's so true. Oftentimes in conversation, I sat down with a seller a couple of days ago in Fort Washington, and they were looking at the Zestimate. And one of the things that they brought up is that they have my house priced at $550,000. Why are you suggesting a price of $475,000?
Right.
And it just creates this challenging conversation. Not that I think challenging is bad. It just creates a challenging conversation because that seller is trying to capitalize on as the train goes by. This is partly why we love.
This is one of the reasons why we wanted to do this in the world, right? Like in the back of our truck.
Yeah.
Because
there's a lot of unknown.
Reality is not perfect, right? Reality is not a studio.
Yeah. So it just creates that challenging conversation although challenging is not bad, I then have to go into convincing mode and show them, look, here, this comp down the street just sold for $550,000. Zillow's got your Zestimate at $550,000, but that home is way more updated than your home. You're still living in the early 90s, and that home has been brought forward to 2020. Right? So there's been some modernization that's happened with that home, unlike yours.
Yes, you have to go into education mode and explain to the seller why their property is different.
Yeah, and I think that's why having the human touch in real estate is so important. And so I think what Zillow is trying to do in some regards is eliminate that. Yeah. I don't think we're going anywhere as realtors, right? I don't think we're going anywhere. I think there's a value on us that cannot be replaced. And I think that really good, strong realtors, they show their worth with the client.
Yeah. All right. I got a kind of a goofy question or something. I want to, we'll break from but it's on the same topic, right? Would you rather list a haunted house or a hoarder's house?
Man, list a haunted house or a hoarder's house?
Yeah, which would you prefer to list?
I think I would rather list a haunted house.
I completely agree.
I've listed hoarder houses. They're tough to navigate, but listing a haunted house, I have 1,000 ideas that are already swirling around in my mind right now for content. Marketing and content.
Right.
Instantaneously.
I don't think there is any valuable marketing position to take on a hoarder's house. But yes, I agree. I think the aspect of being able to market a haunted house to get exposure for that home, I don't think, in my personal opinion, I know everybody's a little different.
I did at one time list a home. You can look it up at 1618 North Wales Road in Bluebell. It was built in the early 1700s. Supposedly it was haunted. I never experienced anything, but supposedly that house was haunted.
Well, it's like our old the Broad Axe Tavern, which is unfortunately now just vacant. There's rumors that used to be haunted, and there's a child locked upstairs somewhere. But yeah, no, I agree. I think that's
that might need to be investigated.
Yeah, I would love to list a haunted house, to be honest. I think it would
What would you do? How would you go about it?
I would try to come up with some sort of haunted house, right? I would dive into it, right? Bring it out, get some ghosts, maybe get some animatronics and
bring in the Addams Family.
Yeah, you go to check out the closet and bones pop out or something, stuff like that. I think, to make light of it, I think that's one thing that, my experience in a very challenging field of law enforcement forces you to deal with difficult situations with humor, right? Or with a light side, because if you don't take the approach to learn to roll with it, it'll consume you, right? So I treat everything in a sense of I need to, it needs to be able to roll off, right? And diving into that is usually the best way to do it.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think being basically a chameleon in real estate is what's needed day in and day out, 100%. Right? Every day we're faced with
challenges,
different situation. People come to us because they've got a situation they either want to get out of or get into. They have a life change. They're looking to either buy or sell, but there's reasons that they're looking to do those things. So
I think one of the other real reasons we wanted to bring this is, and in future episodes, I think we will be doing some of these episodes at listings and at properties, but one of the things is, I think most people only think that all we do is sell these pretty homes. All we do is just put a sign up, and all we do is just hey,
open doors.
Look, and we post on Instagram. Congrats. Yeah. I don't typically do that, by the way. I do it sometimes, but there's, for every pretty home, I think for every pretty home you see us sell, I think we sell probably 5 that need work or need love or need inspiration. Yeah. And that's where this real idea came from. Pulled back that curtain of, look, it's not just the Instagram worthy homes. It's all these.
I think you need to see everything that goes on. The good homes, the luxury homes, mixed with the ones that are dilapidated messes that we get calls on, because I think that there's a lot to be learned from it. From our standpoint as agents, right? We go into houses that are hoarder homes, that have been lived in for 50, 60 years, that haven't been touched, that are probably better off being knocked down rather than renovated. But then we also have, homes that have been lived in. It's somebody's first home. They're looking to sell, and it would be a great home for somebody else. There's all these different situations that we get ourselves into that from a day-to-day aspect, we might not know how to navigate that until we get there. Right. I'm now recently I just had a listing in Phoenixville where I was named the realtor that was going to sell this house in a divorce case. And suddenly I become a divorce professional over the last year. I've sold like 12 divorce listings.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's
a part of life. I've been through it, and it's not fun. But at the same time, you're looked at as somebody that can navigate a process for two individuals that are not on speaking terms and help get them from A to B cordially.
Yeah. Those situations are tough. I had a colleague of ours. I remember a sale that she had, a listing she had. One of the sellers was in jail, like during the sale, and had
amazing,
and had to actually. And I'll revert. I had a listing last year over in Narberth that one of the siblings of the estate was in jail. And, you have to navigate all of this, and you have to figure out, all right, I got to get my notary to the jail between 11 and 1 during visiting hours on Tuesday because I need this stuff signed, right? Like there's definite challenges to navigate, and it makes it worth it, right? Like it's so fun.
Yeah. Do you have a preferred area that you like selling in, like helping in?
I mean, I think that's a double-edged question, but yeah, I mean, I prefer to sell in the world. No, I'm just kidding. No, I really like, I like the general greater Philly area, right? Like, and I say greater because, as we mentioned, I am licensed in New Jersey and Delaware. I do occasionally help clients and Sphere navigate there. Generally, my preferred area of operation is, geographically in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. That's the northeastern suburb of Philadelphia. And really, this is where I live. This is where our office is. This is where I've been since I've moved to Pennsylvania. So yeah, that's my preferred. But, I really still enjoy because there's so many varying designs and styles that we get to experience throughout the greater Philly area, right? Like, Bucks County has a different certain feel and vibe to it. Chester County has a different feel and vibe to it. Philadelphia, I mean, like, look, if there was something iconic, I think about real estate in Philadelphia is like the Airlight twin, right? Like those twins homes are everywhere, right? They stand out. They're nothing special. They are not typically visually pleasing. They're just boxes, but they are great properties.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think this whole entire area has something to offer for anybody, everybody. I really like to be as local as I possibly can. I live in Horsham. That market is what I like to think my market. If I can look out my front door and sell homes in my community.
Which he did.
Yep.
Like a couple weeks ago.
That's exactly where I want to be. I know that market. My children are there. I know what's going on.
I love helping my neighbors.
Yeah. And I want my neighbors to look at me as a resource.
Correct.
Of information not just in real estate, but as a connector, right? We've got so many people in our back pocket that we've worked with over the years, contractors, kitchen guys, electrical, plumbers, HVAC. Like, I want people to come to me and ask me for help, because that gives me a great feeling, and it also gives me the ability to create the relationship with them locally. You know, if I expand out, I mean, the whole Horsham, Ambler, Willow Grove, you know, Upper Dublin, Glenside, Orland, like those are pockets that I love being in because they're not far, right? However, I will say this: being born and raised at the Jersey Shore, specifically Linwood, right? I've got the beach 10 minutes from me. That's where I grew up. So it's been my mission this last year to get down back to the beach. We just opened up, Real just opened up a office in Margate with a colleague of mine, Julie. She spearheaded it. Yep. I helped with the behind the scenes stuff. But the idea was to give us a presence down at the beach, because we do get clients from Pennsylvania that are looking for vacation homes.
Correct.
So it's been my mission this past year to kind of not fully get back down there, but have 25% of my business coming from the beach.
Yeah, there is something kind of super exciting and rewarding selling down the beach, right? Like I know a lot of people think that's, it's fun. Of course it's fun. It's like big homes, price tickets are high. Like, that's not it. Like, beach homes are unique. Beach homes have its own nuanced set of challenges, flood zones, flood insurance, like the wind and hail, right? Like, so, but I agree. I love selling down the beach. Like, some of my favorite sales have been properties I've sold down there. So, Justin, tell me a funny experience that you've had, or an interesting experience that you've had in this business.
I've had one, but it happened with my very first showing.
Ever.
Actually, second showing ever.
So you're a brand new agent, like wet behind the ears, like you are just ripping, roaring to go, and you're out with your first client?
First client.
Okay.
Second client.
Picked
up my first ever client from an open house, listing and buy.
Awesome.
Right here, actually in Ambler, believe it or not. Second client I ever took out to see a home, ever. It was a lead that came into another agent. They didn't want it. They gave it to me. It was a Realtor.com lead. Her name was Joy. She wants to see a duplex in Abington.
Great.
So I'm like all excited. I'm like, fantastic. I set the appointment, confirm, do all the things that I should be doing, right? I meet her at the property, first time ever meeting her. Go in, unlock the door to the main house. It's like a front back duplex situation, right? Go see the house. We're walking through. It's like this old Victorian duplex. Has some really good like charm character. I'm trying to talk to her, just kind of feel out what it is that they're looking for. It was just her. She had a little baby boy with her, maybe like a year old at the time. Husband couldn't make it. So we're walking through, we're having a great conversation. We see the house. She's like, I really like the house. Would love to come back a second time and see it with my husband. So I'm like, fantastic, right? She's like, but let's go check out the duplex upstairs. So we go back out.
And this is like a apartment style or just a straight 2-level? Like,
it was kind of like apartment style.
Okay.
Like the front of the house was like the main house, right? Primary residence, and then it had a back entrance to it.
Got it.
All right, so we go out the front door, off the porch, turn around, and we go up like, it was almost like a fire escape, right?
Yeah.
So we're walking up these steps, open up the lockbox. I open the door. Now she's still walking up the steps. I open up the door, and the first thing I see is an adult toy laying on the ground. A nice pink
adult toy.
We'll just leave it at that.
Yep.
Now I start panicking. I'm like, shit, like, what the fuck?
You're a brand new agent.
I'm a brand new agent. I'm with a female who's got a little one.
This is awkward.
This is completely awkward. I don't know what to do. It's literally right there as I open up the door. So I decide that I'm going to kick it.
Under the bed. Get away.
No, it's in the living room.
Oh.
So I go to kick it, but I'm focused on her coming up the step. I miss it and I hit the tail end of the toy,
No.
And it turns on.
No.
And now it's on the ground vibrating.
Just like buzzing around the floor.
Buzzing around on the floor. She walks in and she's like, "Oh my God, what is that?" I'm like,
nothing.
I'm like, I don't even know what to say. She's like, "Is that a vibrator?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think it's a vibrator." She's like, "Is there somebody living here?" Like, no, it's vacant.
They just left it when they moved
just
out.
left it.
Somebody just left it.
So I think somebody intentionally left a
As a
pink
joke.
vibrator right by the door.
Interesting comedy there. Like, yeah.
It was the most awkward experience that I've had.
I'm awkward for you in that experience. I wasn't there for.
She stuck with me. I wound up selling her and her husband a home in Horsham, and wound up listing their home down in Philly.
Awesome.
So it was a super awkward experience for me. Kind of funny at the same time. Yeah. It's like fits my personality.
That is
amazing. The inappropriateness.
Yeah.
How about you?
One of that comes to mind is, obviously they're all showing related. Almost every funny story is showing related. But mine is like the honest kid or the overly honest kid or curious kid, right? So we're going to the showing. Couple has 2 kids. One of them is like, just bopping around. And literally this kid is narrating the tour. But with brutal 5-6-year-old honesty. Like, this room is ugly. Why does it smell like that in here? Right? I'm like,
just ruining the deal before it even happens.
Right. You're just like, it's like worse than the buyer's dad coming to inspection. Right. Like, it wasn't that bad. Like, his parents obviously thought it was humorous. I thought it was humorous. I was fortunately not new like you were during your experience, but it's just those moments that are like, oh my gosh, like, this is real life and this is hysterical. Like, little kids being like, this bathroom smells. I'm like, yeah, it's not very clean.
Like,
right
somebody
now.
just used it.
Like, someone just used it. Maybe didn't use it all the way, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But those are the funny moments, right? Like,
they happen a lot. We meet some characters sometimes.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny when, and I get it, right? Like, I love it when you want to bring your extended family to a home tour. I mean, I get it. This is going to be a big decision for you, right? Like,
how about when a buyer calls you to see a property and you think you're just meeting them and then like 8 people get out of the van?
I do appreciate the heads up, at least when you do bring everybody.
I don't think I ever get the heads up.
I've gotten it maybe once or twice. Actually, I got it the other day. I had a buyer like, hey, we're going to have our whole family with us. I'm like, awesome. Bring them. Bring their families. Like, but yeah, that it's always that moment where you're like there waiting for your client, and then like, yeah, it's like a clown car pops out, and there's just where are they all coming from, right? Like, but it's great. I mean, I get it. Like, from buying a home, it's a huge deal. So bring your support system.
Yeah.
But just remember this, like, take a lot of their, in my opinion, if you want the professional inside tip, like, take their opinion with a grain of salt. When was the last time your support system, parent, uncle, best friend, when was the last time they bought a house? Because there's a huge difference between somebody that bought a house last month and like my mom, who the last time bought a house was 30 years ago, right? Like,
couldn't agree more. I think that is for new buyers, even buyers just that are rebuying again, right? A second, third time.
Things have changed since you bought your home, and things are going to continue to change. If you just bought a home this year, things are going to be different when you go to sell it. Yeah. So don't expect it to be the same process, because the process does evolve.
Yeah. What do you think is important for the consumers out there that might be viewing this to know about realtors in general? Not you specifically, but us as our profession. What's important for them to know and understand about what we do day in and day out?
I think the most important thing is that most realtors, and I say most, right? Every industry has its rotten eggs, right? Every industry. You go to the grocery store, you're going to get a bad grape in the bunch, right? But most realtors are out here to help you, right? And I think one of the big things of that is, as a consumer, don't be afraid to be honest with your realtor that you've chosen to represent you and help you through your home sale or your home purchase. Because it's always the surprises that throw curveballs, right? So when you're able to be honest and say, hey, this is what I want, this is what I don't want, this is my budget, this is where I want to be, like, be specific. Like, and if you don't know, that's okay too. You can navigate that with us. But most agents out there, us as our profession, we are not, it's not what you see on Selling Sunset. It's not what you see on $1 Million Listing. It is that sometimes too, but we are real people. Remember that too. Like, we are real people with real lives. And sometimes we can't just drop everything. We try, right? We all try. We all want to, but it's, we are people too. So just remember, that's the biggest thing I have to say to consumers is we're people too. We're here to work with you.
Yeah. I almost look at our profession as attorney-client privilege.
Yeah.
I think that when you're jumping into the market as a consumer for one reason or another, it's extremely important that you be upfront with the agent, the realtor that you choose to work with. And if that realtor is asking you specific questions as to your background, your financials, if you've worked with another agent in the past, what your relationship with that agent is, it's all for a very clear reason, is because they don't want to muddy the waters for you and they want to identify how they can help you. So for me personally, it's being upfront and starting off on the right foot and keeping it that way, because I, like you and like many others that we're connected with, we operate our businesses on trust 100%. And honesty. And so we're giving that to you. So as a consumer, I would say it's never a bad thing for you to be overly upfront as to what's happening with your personal situation, right? Whether you're selling because of a life change, or you might have a relationship with an agent, but you don't want to use them. Something, just be upfront with us, because we're going to do our best for you. Right. And we want to help you get from A to Z in the most efficient way possible.
And we do say that with the aspect of be that way with the agent that you choose to work with.
Yes.
Don't just tell the open house agent that you meet on Sunday that you're going through a divorce and that's why you need to move, right? Like, hold that until you've selected the agent that you are choosing to work with you. But, yeah, I mean, we're here to help. Like, that's what, like, we're here to provide a livelihood for our families and help people accomplish their goals in real estate, right?
Yep, I would agree. So this has been our first episode of Behind the Sign podcast. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for tuning in, and we will look to see you next time. We would take
we're open for suggestions. So if you want us to come to a neighborhood, a business complex, you can drop a comment right below here, or you can send us a DM. You can find us at Behind the Sign Pod on Instagram. We're going to be on Spotify, YouTube, and all the other media platforms that are out there. I'm Justin Heath.
I'm Ryan Cavanaugh.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.